right, this video is for the lesson 4.7 homework. So number one, what is the name of lines in the same plane that never intersect? Parallel. Okay. What is the name of lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle to form right angles? Perpendicular. Okay. So here we go. So lines, let's do this. Lines that are parallel. If they're parallel, they have the same slope. Okay? If they're perpendicular, their slopes are negative reciprocals. Flip it and change the sign. So number three, a line that passes through the point 5, 0 and is parallel to y equals -4/5 x. So if it's parallel, what's the slope of the new line going to be? It's going to be the same, right? So what's the slope of this line? So my slope stays the same. And then they give me this information, this 5, 0. That's my x and my y. So what I can do, okay, I don't even have to do that. I could do point slope form too. Let's do it this way though. So my y is a 0, my m is a -4/5, my x is a 5, and then I'm looking for the y-intercept. So now I have an equation I can solve. So menu 3(1), 0 equals, and then I've got -4/5 times 5 plus b, comma b. So my b is a 4. So my equation would be y equals slope, tack on the x, plus the y-intercept. But look what this says, in standard form. So not only do I have to write the equation, I got to convert it. So the rules for standard form are still up on the board. So rule number 1, no fractions. How do I get rid of this fraction? By the number on the bottom. Everything gets multiplied by the denominator. So 5 times y is 5y. This cancels this. So I'm left, that -4 is still there. And then 4 times 5 is 20. Rule number 2, I need to move this x piece in front of the y. So how do I move this x piece? Add. 5y is positive. Remember, they are two different things. They can't be combined. And then finally, is x negative? So I'm done. It froze. So a lot of little pieces. Combining a lot of different lessons that we learned. All right, a line that passes through the point 1, 2 and is parallel to y equals 5x plus 1. Write your equation in point slope form. All right, so if it's parallel, it's going to be parallel to this. What's the slope of my new line? 5. And then they gave me 1, 2. So this is my x, this is my y. So if it wants it in point slope form, that's easy. Y minus y1 equals the slope x minus x1. So I keep the y and I keep the x. My y1 is this number. my slope. I keep the x, and then my x1 is this number. And that's it, I'm done. So point slope form's easy. On the one you're going to have to do, we'll get this one, we're going to get that one set up at least. All right, this one is parallel, but they gave it to me in standard form. So remember, in standard form, the slope equals negative a over b. So what's my a value here? It's a 1. So I got to change the sign. So it's a negative 1. What's the b value? Negative 1. So negative 1 over negative 1 is just a positive 1. And then they give you this point, negative 2, negative 2. What you've got to do is you've got to write it in slope-intercept form. So this is the one where you've got to solve it. So y is a negative 2, m is a 1, x is a negative 2 plus b. You're going to end solve for that b value, and then you're going to rewrite your equation. It's going to be y equals, what's the m? What's the m? Do we write 1x? We just write x. And then when you end solve this, that's the number that goes at the end there. So that one's halfway done for you. Okay, now perpendicular. So remember, perpendicular, negative reciprocals. All right? So a line that passes through the point 10, negative 2, and is perpendicular to the line 5x minus 2y equals negative 4. Well, we got to find the slope first. Negative a over b. So what's the a value here? What's the a value? X is not an a value. 5. So we change the sign. We make it a negative 5. What's the b value? Negative 2. Guys, you need to be checking these fractions. Y'all are still not doing this. Type them in and see if they simplify. This one does. It simplifies to 5 over 2. So that's the slope of this line. We're looking for perpendicular. So that's the negative reciprocal. So we flip this on its head, and then we change the sign. If this one's positive, that one's negative. So that's my slope. My slope is negative 2/5, and then I've got the point 10, 2. That's my x, that's my y. It wants it in slope-intercept form, so I plug my pieces in. Y is 2, m is negative 2/5, x is 10, plus b. So I'm solving for b. I'm trying to find my y-intercept. So end solve, menu 3-1. Negative 2 over 5 times 10 plus b, comma b. So my b value is 6. And those are the two pieces that I need to write that equation in slope-intercept form. I need the b value and the m value. So y equals, m comes first, tack on the x, the y-intercept or the b is at the end. Number 7 is identical to that one. Exact same process. And it's perpendicular, so just make sure that you're starting off with your right slope. All right, number 9, another perpendicular here. Passes through the point 0, -2, and is perpendicular to y equals -x minus 2. We're going to do point slope form. So, what's the slope of my original line? It's the number in front of the x. So, perpendicular, negative reciprocal. So, remember, if it's a whole number, I can put it over 1. Well, if I flip it, it's still 1 over 1. And then we change the sign. This one's negative, so this one's going to be positive. 1 over 1 is just a 1. So that's my slope. And then I've got 0, -2. That's my x and y. Point slope form, y1 minus y equals the slope x1 minus x. So y1, wait, I didn't do that right. Y minus y1, x minus x1. I am so sorry. So y minus. Now, y1 is a -2. Do I do minus -2? Minus -2 turns into +2. Slope is 1. So I can put a 1 there if I want. And then x minus 0. This will actually simplify. If I subtract 0, does it change anything? If I multiply by 1, does it change anything? So I could write this one as y plus 2. I can just put an x there. And that is point slope form. It's just simplified down. All right, we're going to get 10 set up where all you have to do is convert it. So a line passes through the point -2, 5 and is perpendicular to y equals 2/5 x plus 3. What's the slope of this? 2/5. So we have to do negative reciprocal. Flip it on its head, change the sign. This one's positive, so this one's negative. So if I do this in point slope form, let's do point slope form again. Y minus y1 equals the slope x minus x1. So y minus y1 is a 5. Slope is -5 over 2. X minus, I don't do minus a -2, so +2. And then I can put this in standard form. So, remember we distribute 5 be a -5. And then we add 5 to both sides. This cancels. So that's slope-intercept form. How do I turn this into standard form? What's rule 1? So how do I get rid of that fraction? Not divide. Multiply by the 2. So 2 times y is 2y. This 2 cancels this 2, so -5x. All right, what do I do next? Adding it, good. So 5x plus 2y. If this cancels, what's left over here? Nothing. So standard form, if there's nothing over there, you put a 0 there. You put a placeholder. So 10, we just worked. So all you've got today are 3 questions. 4, 6, and 8.